this is actually rather exciting because we seem to be walking right into the middle of a protest. Wow, I had heard about these protests on the news, but until now I haven't been right in the middle of one. I suppose I should be careful where I go and what I film, but it looks like there's a lot of people out here, so I'm probably not in too much danger.
A rozhodla se nečbat varování bezpečnostních složek, které doporučovaly ruský Rosatom z lékařských vyřadí.
So this is incredible. This isn't just a protest. I think it's actually like a rally of some kind. Honestly, I'm not really sure what's going on. But let's get a good view of this.
Téhož dne Hamáček oznamuje plány na cestu do Moskvy. Údajným důvodem třídenní cesty je předjednání dodávek vakcíny Sputnik V. A to i v době, kdy už se téměř celý svět naučil používat videokonference. Na programu cesty mělo být setkání s Vyačeslavem Volodinem, předsedou Ruské státní dumy a blízkým spolupracovníkem Vladimira Putina. Ten přitom figuruje na sankčním seznamu Evropské unie kvůli svému zapojení do anexe Krymu. Prosto skandální v době, kdy veřejnost ještě neměla žádné ponětí o Vrběticích. Cesta se měla odehrát v době, kdy stoupilo napětí na východě Ukrajiny. Nic na tom nezměnilo, ani že Spojené státy uvalily o 2 dny později sankce a spolu s Polskem vyhostili ruské diplomaty. Je naprosto nepochopitelné a neomluvitelné, že vicepremiér Hamáček uvažoval o takové cestě v době, kdy dobře věděl o ruském terorismu ve Vrběticích. Jaký byl tedy pravý důvod cesty?
Nějak přitom zapomněl, že Česko je spojenec USA a nesplňuje tedy logiku neutrální půdy pro setkání.
Pátek 16. dubna, předvečer tiskovky. Let do Moskvy se ruší.
Sobota 17. dubna. Jsme zpět v bodě 0. Prvním ani druhém,
I'm going to take the mask off because otherwise there's no way you can hear what I'm saying.
Vztahu se státem,
I'm going to walk a bit further away, but look at this crowd that has gathered here in Wenceslas Square. I can't believe I was just talking about how Wenceslas Square has historically been a gathering point for people in moments of great historical significance, and I think I'm actually walking through a moment just like that, just such a moment right now. This is incredible. So I speak just barely enough Czech to get a general idea of what they're talking about, and also from reading the signs, it has something to do with Miloš Zeman, the president of the Czech Republic, who recently denied the involvement of Russia in the bombing of the ammunition depot in the Czech Republic in 2014. That has greatly inflamed the tensions between the Czech Republic and Russia. So there were signs here on the
Před jeho účastí varovaly bezpečnostní instituce.
I'm going to avoid the police because I'm not sure how they feel about people filming this.
Přesto všechno se vláda se Zemanem v zádech snažila celý poslední rok protlačit urychlené schválení lekfikovaných.
Walk through the crowd here a bit more.
Na míru Rosatomu.
So there were signs that said things like Zeman, Putin's slut. Signs with the face of Miloš Zeman and Andrej Babiš, who's the prime minister of the Czech Republic, with their faces X'd out, and some very vulgar things written in Czech along with that.
So obchodu a insomnie Havlíček se ani nesnažil pořádně zakrýt svoji snahu protlačit Rosatom. Do její snahy i pochopitelně hodili vidle.
Yeah, I have to admit that I don't understand the full context of what is happening here, but it obviously has something to do with Miloš Zeman and Babiš. And the sentiment here appears to be overwhelmingly negative regarding those two leaders. It's just amazing to me that I was just talking about the anti-Russian sentiment in the Czech Republic, which is still very alive and well. And I was also talking about how America is kind of viewed as the antidote to Russia, or the opposite extreme. And the Czech Republic, at least the sort of the liberal, progressive, forward-thinking faction of the Czech Republic, they want to align themselves with the United States and with the free Western capitalist society in general. When it came out that there was possibly some involvement from Russia in that explosion at the munitions depot in 2014 that killed 2 people, the sentiment in the Czech Republic towards Russia just turned overwhelmingly negative. I mean, it was already, but as you can see here, people are just going absolutely crazy over this situation. And just to reiterate, one reason that Zeman is the target of this protest is that he came out in a statement after not saying anything for over a week about the situation with the munitions depot and the Russian involvement, and he basically denied or downplayed the possibility that Russia could have been responsible for those attacks. And so the critics of Zeman are claiming that that's basically because he's an instrument of Russia. You know, he's Putin. He's in Putin's pocket, and he doesn't want to upset his Russian daddy. And like I said, I freely and fully admit that I don't understand the full context of this. I'm stepping into a situation that has very deep roots in the Soviet occupation of the Czech Republic and the geopolitical history of this region over the past 40 or 50 years. And I'm stepping into this as a kind of an ignorant American who, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I couldn't even find Prague on a map a year and a half ago. So I don't claim to know what I'm talking about. I'm just reporting what I see and trying to make sense of it from what little I know about what's happening here.
Krok Ruské federace zaměřený proti Evropě a naší zemi odhaluje.
The atmosphere here is truly like electrifying, and I don't use that word lightly. The energy in the air is just palpable, and I don't even understand most of what the speaker is saying, but you can just hear the passion in what he's saying, and the entire crowd is hanging on every word. As I walked through the crowd earlier, I was the only one who was not facing the stage and listening intently, hanging on every word that he's saying.
Ještě víc než teď je zvlášť v tuto chvíli opravdový hazard s bezpečností naší země. Všechno. Vyzýváme proto senátory České republiky, aby zahájili cestu k odvolání Miloše Zemana z pozice prezidenta republiky.
So I'm just going to duck into this little passageway here because the energy in this square is just overwhelming. What is happening out there is truly remarkable, and it's times like these when I wish I understood more of what is being said and more of the historical and cultural context of what's happening here, because it's amazing. It's an incredible, incredible scene to behold, and I just feel, man, I feel like privileged to be able to see this as it's unfolding right now. Wow. So once again, I don't understand everything that's being said, but earlier they were talking, for example, about the Sputnik vaccine from Russia. And there's been a lot of controversy within the entire EU about whether or not to accept Russia's vaccines. And I think that controversy is both a scientific controversy because people aren't entirely sure whether Sputnik is actually a safe and effective vaccine, because people are afraid that Russia maybe has slightly different standards than the rest of the civilized world for establishing a safety and effectiveness of a medical treatment. But there's also a concern that Russia is trying to essentially buy influence within the EU by providing vaccines to European countries that are struggling to vaccinate everyone. So a lot of people are opposed to accepting Russia's help just on principle, because they don't want to allow Russia to have any more influence in the region than they already have. It's a crazy world we're living in right now. It's a crazy, crazy time. And man, I can't believe I'm here to witness this firsthand. Unbelievable. So the thing about the Czech Republic that is so interesting and kind of tragic in a way is that it's a country that, because of its geographical location and because of its cultural history, has just been caught in the crossfire of so many of these geopolitical and power struggles between much more powerful nations like the United States, Britain, and Russia, and even going all the way back to Nazi Germany. And the impression I get from Czech people is that they've never been the aggressors in any of these conflicts. They've never tried to seize anything that wasn't theirs. All they've ever really wanted is just to be left alone in peace and to have their territory and to have their culture and to be allowed to be a sovereign nation and be free. And so it really is kind of it's a sad and tragic thing that this very peaceful people, this peaceful nation of 10 million people now, which was even smaller in the past, it's like they just can't be left alone in peace, you know? And that's all they want. That's all they want. It's just to be left alone, to be free, and not to have people trying to basically conquer and occupy their territory at all times. So it happened in Nazi Germany. The Nazis rolled in and hung up Nazi flags everywhere and declared that Prague was now territory of the Third Reich. And then it happened again in 1968 when the Russians rolled in with their tanks and declared that the Czech Republic was now a satellite state of the Soviet Union. But they still have so much Russian and Soviet influence in the government and even in the people that live here, in the culture. So there's still very much a kind of a culture war that is happening within the country. And as you can see, I would say the majority of just average people living here, especially in Prague, in the capital city, the sentiment is overwhelmingly pro-USA, pro-American, and anti-Russia. So whenever someone high up in the Czech government comes out and praises Russia or denies Russia's involvement in some kind of aggression towards the West or some kind of aggression towards the Czech Republic and its allies, people turn out like this in protest. And I really feel for for the Czech people because it feels like they're really not accepted anywhere. They don't fit in anywhere on the global stage. They want to be part of Western Europe. They even, if you call Prague Eastern Europe, or if you call the Czech Republic Eastern Europe, people react very negatively to that. They're really trying to distance themselves from their association with the Eastern Bloc and with the Soviet Union. But they're also really not accepted as part of Western Europe. If you go to Berlin, for example, if you go to Paris, if you go to any of the traditional capitals of Western Europe, and you mention Prague, they still sort of have this idea that Prague is a backwater Eastern European city, even though that really couldn't be farther from the truth. It's just not accurate at all. But it's a prejudice that still survives, and it's a holdover from the geopolitics of 30 or 40 years ago. And at the same time, Russia still seems to covet the Czech Republic and all of the former Eastern Bloc territories. They still seem to have some intentions to try to gain more and more influence in that region, and this is the thing that makes everybody nervous about Russia, especially America and the West. But I can tell you that the overwhelming majority of the Czech people that I've met want nothing to do with the Soviet Union. They want nothing to do with Russia. I mean, they're still traumatized by what Russia did to this country for over 20 years. And many of them still see America as a protector of sorts, or as at the very least, as a kind of a solution, or a way to oppose Russia's tendency to continue to try to establish more and more influence in this area. So I'm going to end this video here in the Old Town Square. I've just walked here from Wenceslas Square where the protest was occurring, and I'm still processing what I saw. It was really quite overwhelming, and I don't understand everything that's happening. I certainly don't pretend to speak with authority on any of these topics. I'm just sort of reporting what I see and trying to connect it to what little I do know. We're really kind of on the bleeding edge of history right now. We're seeing this this sort of ancient, I say ancient, but this old conflict between the East and the West, this old conflict between the Western Allies and the Soviet Union, sort of flaring up again here. And who knows where that's going to lead. I really hope that it doesn't continue to escalate, and I really hope that the Czech Republic will be left alone to prosper in peace and establish the free and open society that they've always wanted to have, and just be left alone by all of these massive political powers that are trying to basically dominate and control the world. So, signing off for now in Old Town Square, Prague. Thank you for watching. Thanks for coming along with me on that crazy journey, and I'll see you next time.